Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here, and I'm catching up on doing some YouTube videos about some recent Final Fantasy news. If you haven't checked it already, we did get some news regarding the current development status of Final Fantasy 16, and that is a separate video altogether. However, in this video, we get to talk about my all-time favorite Final Fantasy game, and that of Final Fantasy 6. Some of us grew up with it as Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo, but all the same, it is my favorite game in the entire franchise, and the last game to be getting a pixel remaster to be released on Steam and mobile. Fingers crossed they do console at some point for those of you who are patiently waiting for the title. However, Final Fantasy VI is a game that is going to be under a lot of scrutiny when it releases as a pixel remaster, as was Final Fantasies 4 and 5 before it, two very beloved titles by many other people. We are carefully analyzing anything we can find out about it to see, ooh, is it going to be buggy? Is it going to be rebalanced? Is it going to be updated in any particular ways? And, well, Famitsu gave us our first real peek at Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster a few weeks ago at the point of making this video. Now, we get a few screenshots and a little bit of text, some describing the characters in the top right, some showing the cutscenes and battle scenes on the right, but there's a couple of exciting elements about this. For one, I've enjoyed the Pixel Remaster's art style, sticking largely to the originals while just trying to even out some of the rough edges that actually still seem to be a little bit apparent here when you look at the little character profiles on the top right. You see some of the tried and true Pixel Remaster style graphics being shown on the right hand side as well, stuff that's just familiar, stuff that Pixel Remasters have kind of leaned on at this point to make sure that there's kind of a similar graphical fidelity between all of these games and that they don't look like they've traveled through the ages. A pro and a con, some might say, but at the very least they all look good. Unfortunately, impossible to really decide if the text is going to be okay because the Japanese text is largely considered to be okay in the first place, whereas the North American English text has not been very pleasant, and very often we've had to mod it in order to make sure that either A, we don't complain about it, or B, the people watching us stream it don't complain about it. Not that I'm speaking about anyone in particular. However, couple of things as of note, specifically in the cutscene from the opening part of the game in the bottom left and from the opera scene in the bottom right, and that it looks like they are doing a little bit more work to have a forced 3D or 2D HD perspective with regards to certain elements of the game. Now, the opera scene in the bottom right for me is the most important thing, one that I'd like to zoom in on, but man, is this not conducive to really zooming in? Look, zooming in on it makes it smaller practically because I'm trying to look at it through Twitter. But in case you're having a hard time seeing it, I could always just do this. Let's blow it up. Let's just break all the rules for making YouTube videos right now and just grab that. In case you couldn't see it thoroughly before, this looks to be a very Octopath style graphical change specifically for this opera scene. Doesn't look so blurry when you don't blow it up to 1080p when it's like a 360p picture, but all the same. And it even makes mention in the little blurb next to it in Japanese that it looks to be a little bit more three-dimensional than it was before. Now, I don't know about you, but my biggest bucket list item for Final Fantasy remakes would be to get games in the Octopath style, a style we're seeing used already in some remakes in the form of Dragon Quest III. Now, seeing elements of that in Final Fantasy VI is reassuring, but the other elements do not support, well, it really looking like that at all. It just looks like something they'll use occasionally, including with the opening scene, in order to spruce up the visual appeal and bring it a little bit more into the modern age. Now, there are some other screenshots on there. Unfortunately, going back to the fully untransformed version is a little bit annoying, but you know, we can always do that right about like this. That's close enough. And as you can see, if we come over here, you can see other little things. For example, I think it's, what is it, mode 6? I can't even remember what the mode itself is actually called, with the Chocobo graphics over on the right, as well as some of the other Pixel Remaster style overworld graphics that you can see right next to it. They are just looking like they want to do a ton of visual upgrades to it while still keeping largely to the original in a lot of ways. So this gets me excited about Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster. Apologies for that. My phone going off in the middle of a recording. Very unprofessional. But you know what? It said it was in Do Not Disturb. It just lied to me. We did also confirm when this will be releasing, and currently it is slated for February 2022. They said they wanted to take a little bit more time to polish it, probably after Final Fantasy V's quite buggy release, if I may be completely honest with all of you who are watching the video. Hopefully that means a little bit less problems. I'm of course looking forward to seeing if they rebalance any of the characters that were a little bit more tedious to use in the original. Gao, maybe Cyan. There's a bunch of other options that could pop in there, but still enjoying and looking forward to Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster, now again in February 2022. Let me know what you think about some of these screens. Would you like to see a Final Fantasy VI entire remaster in the Octopath 2D HD style? And I know some of y'all know some of those screenshots that we've seen out there in the the past, and those get me excited still. Let me know what you think in the comment section of the video below. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more information regarding, well, anything Final Fantasy. I just like to talk about it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.